I'm talking about a commonly overlooked herb that's usually available just about anywhere in the world. I often even overlook this herb myself. So I'm going to talk about that and the Grow Your Apothecary monthly plant lessons here in just a second. Facebook is giving me tips. Okay, go away, little tips. All right, good. So here we have two uses for plantain. Plantain right here. This is often in most people's yards. It's in parks. It's all over the place, really. Plantago major, and there's many other species of plantain. It can look like this. It can also look like this. So it can be kind of an oval shape, ovate shape. Could be the size of my hand, could be smaller. And they are also, will go in bloom and have a blossom. This is actually called an inflorescence. And in there are tiny little flowers. You can kind of just see them poking up. But mainly they don't have much of a petal at all. They mainly just have the reproductive parts, the pollen producing and the seed producing parts in there. Right? So people can be allergic to this pollen. It's mainly air pollinated, not much to do with any insects. Hence the small petals, if any at all. Can't really see them that well. And so this one is really helpful for when you have a bee sting or other types of skin irritations. But for bee stings, this thing works so quickly. It's really remarkable. I've seen it work fast many times and talked to several people. I just got stung on Tuesday, and some other people were in the garden with me, and I said, quick, find me some plantain. I was just so focused on the pain, I could barely think straight. And so somebody found me one. And what I like to do with it when it's fresh like this, not simply put it on the wound, which or the sting, but you certainly can. It can act like a nice little bandage to hold on some herbs and to keep dirt out if needed for a little short period of time. So what I usually do is I put it between my hands and I roll it very quickly. And after I roll it for a little while, it starts to get like the juices, the water, the plant constituents start to come out. I mean, when it looks like this, it kind of feels dry and leathery. But once you start doing this, then maybe you can even see how my hands are shiny from all the juices. That's the only way I can describe it, is in there. Okay, so then what I like to do is after it's kind of, I've opened all those plant cells by breaking them and squishing them, and I have all that good stuff oozing out of it. I like to put it on the bee sting, or the skin irritation, usually bee sting, and if possible, then I'll take another leaf and just wrap it up, and kind of hold it there. If I have some yarrow around, I'll put yarrow leaf in there, and that's what I did on Tuesday when I got a bee sting. And within about less than 10 minutes, I didn't have any pain from the bee sting. So that was helpful. Of course, the bee sting, the bee just barely got in there and I saw it fly away, but you know how you sometimes get a bee and it's like stuck in there, you gotta pull it out? In that case, I'd put some ice on it with the plantain to help speed that up, but yarrow leaf would be really excellent with plantain poultice. So that's essentially a poultice when you grind up the leaf like that and then put it on the affected area to help with whatever pain, bleeding, stings, burns. This would also be good for burns. Another overlooked use, for me especially, I often forget that this one can be used as a tea. So, or juiced as well and drink that way. But I often just think of plantain as something that's used for stings, especially since I've used it so much for stings. And I often forget that I just can go out there and pick it for tea. And some of the reasons I kind of overlook this one is, for one, it's just everywhere, right? It's just kind of like in the backdrop. For two, I'm usually going out to the garden to look for really pretty flowers to put in my tea. I'm looking for very fragrant leaves to put in my teas. And I mean, honestly, plantain is not fragrant. It's not, doesn't have a lot of color. It's simply green, and it's always under my feet somewhere. So I often forget, like, this one really is a simple, easy to find herb that can be used to drink for internal issues like the gastrointestinal system. It's meant to help soothe the gastrointestinal system, as well as the throat too. So, you know, that whole part from our mouth all the way down to our butt, essentially, is that whole gastrointestinal system. And even the leaves of a certain, or the seeds of a certain species is used for psyllium. So many of you probably have seen in food and in Metamucil, which is a product. It comes from this plant, a species of plantain. So plantain is also the word they use for that banana-shaped fruit, but plantain, plantago, is this plant I'm holding here with the green leaves that grows close to the ground. Now they believe that this plantago major was brought with the European immigrants here in the United States of America. They believe that it was not here previously, but again, there's many different species of this too that can also be used interchangeably. So you can see how big this one is. This one leaf almost takes over the palm of my hand, and then some into my fingers. And I've also had some that overtake my hand. And so if you want to cultivate it to grow bigger, you can keep a patch of it in your garden somewhere where you don't mow, and then it just gets bigger and bigger. And there's these beautiful dark green leaves that I have in my garden where we don't mow. Now, where we do walk and mow, there is definitely plantain. Like I said, it's everywhere. And the leaves get smaller, it gets really close to the ground. It may have like dirt on it and stuff from being so close. But if you cultivate it and let it grow in some corner of your garden, it will get bigger and like raise itself up off of the ground so that it's not so full of dirt all the time. If it does get dirt on it, you can always just, rinse it off as well before you make a tea of it. You can dry it too in order to make a tea of it. I would sort of recommend using a dehydrator if possible, because even though it seems kind of dry and leathery, like I said, it's got a lot of water content in it. You can see the veins here that carry the water and carry the nutrients through it, and they're very pronounced. So they're very thick and full of the good water and phloem and xylem moving the things around. So they do have a lot of water content in them. All right, so cultivating it is what I consider your outdoor home herbal apothecary. Home herbal apothecaries are not always inside. They part of them can be outside where you're growing them. And so I like to use this one fresh as much as possible. So that's why I always want to have some big juicy leaves of it in my garden somewhere. And my husband used to go around and pick them out of the yard, and rather than just be like, no, you need to save everyone in the yard, I just made a patch of it where I said, don't mow there, that's where I'm going to keep the plantain, and it grew so big. So when I moved into this new house, I was kind of sad that I didn't have a plantain patch, but don't you worry, I have made one out by my garden, and I'm trying to pull the grass away where the lawn was and let the wood violets, the plantain grow, and also some dandelions, because I do want some dandelion leaves and roots in that spot. So I'm cultivating it in those areas. So yeah, there's many ways to use this. Like I said, if you can positively identify this plantain around you, consider trying to make a tea of it. Break it up into little pieces. You can even take a knife and chop it up, and then add some boiling water over it. Take about 1 to 2 tablespoons of the plantain leaf, and then pour over a cup of boiling water, and let it sit for about 10 minutes, and then strain it and try that. See if you like that. Some people may make it stronger, some people may make it lighter or sweeter, adding some honey to it, but it does have anti-inflammatory properties to it to help the gastrointestinal system. All right, so these are the kinds of lessons and tips I'm giving people in the Grow Your Apothecary monthly plant lessons. We start this Sunday, September 4th at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's a live lesson in Zoom with me, going over how to grow it, how to find it, how to identify it, what it's used for, different ways, different herbal applications it can be made into, and then any symbolism that goes along with this, any history behind it, and also just there's so many stories that involve the plantain and how people come to herbal medicine first, through things like plantain, which is just right under our feet. And so after the 45-minute lesson, we'll have time for Q&A and sharing time, so people in the plant lesson cohort can learn from each other, and not just learn it from me, but also hear other people and how they use it, because there's so many ideas of how to use things and make things that it's really great to see hear what other people are doing with it. It's kind of like, baking flour and sugar. Like, there's like 1,000 different ways you can use those ingredients, and herbs can be the same way, fresh, dried. So lots of tips and information to be had. I'm also doing the monthly plant lessons so people can connect to their inner green witch, their plant priestess, and their inner herbal healer. And if you're wondering which archetype of those represents your herbal pathway, I do have a free quiz for that to see if your herbal pathway aligns more with the healer, the priestess, or the witch. So that's on my fullcircleherbals.com website. You can find it there. Those classes are being recorded. So I see a question. That's a great question. The classes will be recorded, and the replays will be sent through email. So there will be at this time, there's no class site or place to log in. Everything is just going to be sent through email. And then you can keep that link for, as long as the internet will hold those videos for me, those replays, you can have those. And you may be wondering how much this is. It's $44 a month, and you decide how long you stay in, whether it's a month or 2 or 12 or 2 years, ever how long I have this going. But I'm starting it, the first lesson, this Sunday. And I do have sliding scale payment options. So $44 is the full price, but $33 and $22 are other options for people who need to have those options for them, so I can make it accessible to as many people as I can. So yes, they definitely are going to be recorded. I probably will not record the sharing portion of it, because not everybody wants to be recorded when they share about things, especially if they start sharing about like dreams they had or feelings they get from plants, because sometimes that's it's personal information, and I probably won't record those sharing portions of it unless somebody really, really wants to. But I will record the Q&A section of it, and everybody who is in can have those recordings. All right, some other questions. Oh, there is a bonus coming up when you join in September. I'm doing a bonus class September 25th. It's called the Secret Meeting, Curious Potions and Mysterious... Hold on a second, let me think of this. It was a great title, right? But I can't always remember. Secret Meeting, Creating Mysterious and Curious Potions. And so the 25th is that free bonus one for those who join in the month of September for the Grow Your Apothecary monthly plant lessons. So the plant lessons are every Sunday before the full moon, or if the full moon lands on a Sunday, we do that. And then the secret meeting is happening on a dark moon that's happening on a Sunday. So the second dark moon happening on a Sunday in 2022, and it's the last one. So I thought it would be fun to do a secret meeting because, it's dark, the dark moon, there's no shining thing up in the sky at night, and we'll do a secret meeting about potions and mysterious and curious potions. So we already have many people in the class, so it's going to be a full class. And yes, if you get in September, you get that bonus live lesson, the secret meeting. And what herb are we going to start with? We're going to start this Sunday with wild black cherry. It's a very dear tree to me this year. It's kind of like a theme, kind of like a symbol of the year, this wild black cherry tree, and I'll tell you why in the lesson. I'll also tell you about how it can be used and what it looks like. And some people have asked me, will I have printouts and downloads and handouts? The answer is maybe. So the Grow Your Apothecary monthly plant lessons, guaranteed to get you a plant lesson before the every full moon cycle. You'll get one, and then in between, if I happen to get you some handouts or some copies of my plant profiles or some extra templates, wink wink, if I feel inspired and have time and energy to do that, then I will offer those bonus items. And I'm not going to promise any bonuses, but I have a strong tendency to give gifts and bonuses too. So but we definitely guaranteeing you September 4th and September 25th and every Sunday before the full moon. So we begin September 4th. I would love to have you there for the first one and also for the bonus session. All right, well, I'll pop the link in the comments here very soon, and the link is already in the header of this Facebook page too, and on my fullcircleherbals.com website. So all right, everybody, thanks for joining in. Let me know if you have any questions. Take care.